The Pentaverate Ending Explained. Netflix's most recent release starring Mike Myers as quite literally everybody centering around conspiracy theories, corruption, and the kind-hearted nature of Canadians was something different for the platform. But what did the ending mean? Well, let's find out. Here is the Pentaverate Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Throughout the show, we saw Ken Scarborough embark on a mission to save his career and get his job back at the local news station that he worked at. He went undercover inside the Pentaverate, which was an organization that had essentially been controlling the world since 1347 and must never be exposed. We saw the group have 5 members, but in the final episode we saw a revelation that the group had been compromised from within. Bruce and Skip Cho were planning on selling off Mentor to the highest bidder at the Meadow, which is a yearly conference where the rich, royal, and famous attend, almost like World Economic Forum at Davos. Bruce had been behind all of the murders that took place throughout the show. He killed Jason Eccleston because he wanted to get Skip in to start the plan. However, Lord Lordington ended up recruiting Hobart Clark, which meant that he had to kill him too. He then went on to kill the Meister due to the fact that they were getting too suspicious and close to exposing all of the activity. As Ken and Riley were held hostage and forced to be there due to Ken retrieving what is considered the spare key, they were not permitted to escape and were needed as part of Bruce's grand plan. Whilst in captive, we then got another revelation. Riley was in fact an undercover worker who was working with Lord Lordington and Patty. It was the plan all along, to get Ken to come to the Pentaverate. We saw the conflict in whether or not Ken could trust her moving forward after she revealed it, but he chose to do so as there was quite literally no other option and they were held captive together. After this, we saw the man who saved them on multiple occasions throughout the show do it again, and they then split up as the Red Robes started to chase them down. Whilst this was going on, we witnessed Ken go on to claim how Mentor had been able to solve climate change whilst presenting, but the people of the planet do not deserve it. It was an outlook on the real world and the society that we live in. How we give up our privacy to be mildly entertained. Our data is mined, sold, and shafted off to anybody that will pay for it, and we're willing to accept it. And it was almost exactly like what Bruce was doing, but on a larger scale with Mentor. As the bidding was underway, we saw Ken and Riley meet with the Liechtenstein guards who had essentially given up hope as they believed that they could not defeat the Red Robes. However, Ken and Riley go on to rally them up, head into battle, and defeat them. After this, we then got the climax of the show. Everybody in the main room, Riley being held hostage, Andrew Lansdowne delighted at the fact that one of his conspiracy theories is true, and that was that the Pentaverate exists. Mentor ended up getting sold, and it required Ken to use the spare key that is synced up with him. However, at the point where he needed to make a decision whether or not he was going to do so, he threw it out of the hole in the middle of the room, rendering Bruce's plan as completely redundant. Andrew, as the hero that he wanted to be, ended up pushing Bruce out of the hole and saving the day, sacrificing himself for the greater good. From here, we then saw that Lord Lordington wanted Ken's soul to be claimed by Mentor, and that was his grand plan. As we heard earlier on in the show, Mentor needed a kind soul, and the plan all along, much to Riley's surprise, was to have Ken essentially become Mentor. There was a lot of lying and scheming amongst every part in this show, and this was the final piece of deceit. We witnessed Ken be willing to do this, which would render his physical form obsolete, as his soul would be transferred into Mentor. He was done with his old life. We heard him say it earlier on in the season, how he should have just retired rather than chasing this down. However, with this, he saw this as an opportunity to do good and go on to make a difference, something that he always wanted to do. And from there, we then witnessed the scene of him being claimed. The main members in the Pentaverate went on to activate the Demetrius Protocol, which meant that they had to take a pill that contained poison. The plan was for it to always be activated if the Pentaverate were to fall into nefarious hands, and it had been in nefarious hands all along. None of them were fit to lead or be part of the group, so they all took the pill and were poisoned. Once this happened and Ken was transformed into Mentor, we then cut to 1 year later where we had Patty and Riley looking like they're leading a new version of the Pentaverate, but this time it was called the Septaverate. The room was all white, completely clean, and a completely different look and feel. Their aim was to be more inclusive, which was something that they were always trying to fight for in the original Pentaverate. So it looks as though they will be leading the show when there is a season 2. In the final few moments when we thought that it had finished, we then cut to a beach where it turned out that Bruce actually survived the fall from the top, and he managed to get that face-swapping surgery which he referenced earlier on, which now meant that he looked like Rob Lowe. So he may also potentially be making a return in season 2 of the show as the main villain, but we'll just have to wait and see. The show's overall message is a dig at the people at the top. The rich keep getting richer, and the regular people are none the wiser to the schemes that are going on in order to keep the regular people under control, hence the conspiracy theories, the groups, and the holding off of resources and information that could genuinely make a difference. But somebody has to always profit off of it, and in this instance, it was going to be Bruce. The whole show is essentially one big conspiracy theory, and it made an entertaining watch. Whilst not necessarily the funniest, and laughing out loud throughout the entirety of it, there were elements that did make me laugh from time to time. And you can't not love it when Shrek also makes an appearance. So, there you have it, the Pentaverate ending explained. What did you think of this show? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.